Olivia Reisner's idea might seem naive and idealistic, though it does have a point. With all the knowledge from the Maelstrom and all the scientific progress, the exhausted humans trapped inside the dome may not survive long enough to see themselves freed. You order the Maelstrom to begin the dome's biosphere transformation. The spinning vortex shoots up, and a couple of moments later, a loud thunder comes from above. A single drop of rain falls on your forehead, and then streams of rain fall from the skies, invisible beyond the white fog. You step back, stumble, and fall, dropping into the white nothingness. Yoko looks at you with glowing blue eyes. The robo-girl nods. Yoko's eyes. The robo-girl freezes.
Further studying of...
The girl nods short.
Let's begin our scientific mission, Senpai.
Both Johan and Olivia are standing beside their canopy, motionless, staring at the gray horizon, covered with an endless murk of rain.
We had a chance to get out of here. Did you decide this was more important?
Johan waves his thin arm toward the horizon. Olivia puts her arm around his shoulders.
But it is more important. Do you remember saying you wanted to plant a persimmon tree near our house? We'll have a garden. And maybe even children. I'm not that old yet. I'm not old, right? Tell me.
With a brief sigh, Johan covers her hand with his. Hanging her head, Fox, the woman looks up at you in a she shrugs.
Seamus,
Fox.
I'm coming with you.
Another milestone in the history of mankind has come to an end. Maelstrom, that you have awakened in the excavation zone at C-12 Nashville facility, has remained completely unexplored, much like the civilization of the forefathers that created it. Of course, Maelstrom was neither good nor evil. It probably turned out to be just a tool that humanity simply was not mature enough to wield. Perhaps it was a communication interface that tried to unite the minds of all the people under the dome. Or a security system that warned us against getting into contact with something unknown and dangerous. Or a creative force that transforms the world and awakens supernatural powers in some individuals. One thing is indisputable. Maelstrom, lost in its own creation, gave rise to your incredible mind, and once in your hands, it gave you the opportunity to change the fate of the world completely. Few receive such a chance, and naturally, you took it and made your choice. You judged Olivia Reisner's idea to turn Maelstrom into a source of life, the most humane and reasonable. Under your instructions, the megalo anomaly transformed into a kind of atmospheric front, which for many days rained on the arid lands of the dome. The dead desert bloomed. Rivers flowed again in the canyons, and less than a year later, the first children began to be born under the dome. If the new Maelstrom changed people's lives, it did not change their natures. With the threat of imminent destruction negated, old conflicts were renewed and intensified. Thanks to your help, the new committee's power grew manyfold. The former Cronus became a totalitarian, bureaucratic empire. After Kurt Spengler became mayor of Junktown, the settlement started to change. Construction of the long-promised wall began. The number of police officers increased, and life in the inhospitable slums became a little safer and quieter, albeit poorer than before. Bethany Mortensen deserves some credit, as even after losing the election, she did not give up her idea of turning Junktown into a free economic zone. And although her idea did not succeed to the end, it was thanks to Bethany that the settlement did not slide into absolute poverty and lasted for many years, eventually becoming part of the city. The many-fold increase in controlling policies made life in the new committee almost insufferable. Magellan people raised a revolt, which was put down with a heavy hand. Elections took place in Carmine Heights. The Reisners kept their position. Your help had a significant effect on the settlement, and the community learned its lesson. Peace among its members became the highest priority of its internal policy, and eventually led to the creation of the local parliament. The long-lasting, simmering conflict which had been ruining the marriage of Johann and Olivia gradually faded. The now wiser spouses managed to build a balanced settlement, combining both powerful scientific potential and productive agriculture. With the passage of time, Carmine Heights managed a small but technically equipped army to protect the Republic from invading forces. Zemeckis' embarrassment from losing the elections in Carmine Heights didn't last long. Hieronymus channeled all his passion toward transforming the Phalanx, trying to turn it from a private mercenary army to something bigger. One could say he failed. The false database you gave him did not allow Zemeckis to lure the new committee's key employees away, which was necessary to develop the Phalanx's own scientific projects. The Phalanx remained a community of mercenaries. The pocket country created by Hieronymus decayed gradually, becoming totally unpopulated after a couple of decades. Zemeckis himself died in 1999 after a long illness, seeing for himself both the rise and fall of the Phalanx. Your actions concerning the church were somewhat contradictory, and so played no significant role in its fate. As the new committee grew stronger, the church's position worsened. Its adepts started being harassed. The church was eventually eliminated by Kimiko Nakamura's decree. As for the picnic neutral zone, it degraded slowly for many years. Your help proved to be not enough to provide its autonomy. Victoria was furious when she realized control over Maelstrom had slipped from her grasp. Led by their queen, the Fops army roamed the dome for many years, attacking patrols, caravans, and occasionally travelers. The gang's life ended some 30 years later at the Phalanx Fortress, when the last surviving Fops clashed with the elderly Phalanx men. The fight was desperate, and there were no survivors. As for Victoria, she survived and wandered in the desert for a long time, until one day, weakened and completely insane, she was picked up by some bandits. They sold the former queen to a brothel, where she ended her existence. Victoria Legrand had every chance of dying of syphilis, but alcohol and progressive insanity killed her earlier. Despite some upheaval and strife, the time after Maelstrom's transformation was unusually calm. Olivia's short-sightedness did not become apparent until early 2002, when the rapidly growing population of the Dome faced the threat of hunger and other resource constraints. Inevitable problems in such a confined territory. Observations of the Dome's apex revealed another alarming dilemma. From the moment of Maelstrom's transformation, the aperture was slowly shrinking, gradually turning it into a closed biosphere. Human civilization's new paradise was not a deception, but it turned out to be a test. Having resolved the problem with Maelstrom, humanity would face even more serious challenges. Though it became obvious much later, after many years, by that time, the desert had covered your traces. Though the tale of what you'd done is still alive, and will stay like that till the end of time.